My name is Vanessa Johnson, and this is going to be a very short, quick video on digital cartography. And we're just going to go through the theory of digital cartography, what it is. This is a quite basic subject, but also it is fairly new. So in this we're just going to do the introduction, the definition, the nature and scope of digital cartography, what it is, and we'll just get to know some information about it. So digital and cartography, so we'll start with the word cartography. Cartography basically means making of maps, and making of maps was done from the ancient days. So during that time they used to make maps on whatever that was possible. So the ancient man, especially in the stone age, they did not have many tools, right? So at that time they used to carve out on caves or on rocks, as you can see in the picture to the left. These are some really old inscriptions that we have or we can still see today. And then as man started developing, we started to understand more, and we started having better material to map on. So we started using leaves. Then we started, if you must have heard of papyrus leaves, they started using the papyrus leaves. They started using various materials, and today we can see that we have come to paper, right? So cartography basically means the art of making a map, and digital cartography means digitally making a map. So it's a very simple thing, but we'll just move forward. So in the early 1900s, 1800s also, there are map making was there before Christ as well. So at that time they did not have very clear understanding of the world. They did not know if the world was round, if the world was flat. So there were a lot of theories of the earth being flat, right? So they made maps in that particular way. You can see one map here in front of us. It is very different from the traditional map that we use today. So these are just some examples. We're not going to talk about the type of map that you are seeing right now, but these are just some old maps that I could find. This also is a map of the world. So this is from various books. This is how the map was made during those times. This was made on paper, on canvas, on cloth. So there have been various ways that maps were made, and this map, all of these, when they were made by hand, it is called manual cartography. That means to make with hand. In the next video we'll see the difference between manual and digital cartography, but for the time being you must just know that there is something called as manual cartography, that is making a map with hand, and there is something called as digital cartography where you're making it digitally using a computer or a phone or any device basically. So making of maps manually is very difficult because it takes a lot of time for the first point, because to make a small area map as well with so many details, it'll take us at least a few months to make one single map. So to map an entire country or an entire state would be very difficult and time consuming. So if you look at some of the Survey of India topo sheets, you will see that they have been done over years. It has taken them years to finish the entire surveying, and so manual cartography was not that great in the long run. And again we'll see the differentiation between both of them in the next video. But because manual cartography was not very feasible, we went on to digital cartography. This is another picture of people making maps. So these maps are huge. So whenever they needed to fight in the army or whatever, so they needed these maps, and these maps were very large because obviously the area was very large, right? So this map making was difficult. Because of that we have moved on to digital cartography. So we'll move on to the definition. digital cartography is a discipline and practice of creating, managing, and analyzing maps using digital technologies and geographic information system. Now, if you do not know what is geographic information system, I already have another series on that. You can go ahead and watch. But simply, it is basically a system that is made where we can make these maps digitally. Okay, so that is the system. GIS is basically where you are digitally creating maps, creating various type of images, or basically you are trying to make maps, right? So create maps. So an acronym that you can use to remember this is CMA. So creating, managing, and analyzing maps using digital technologies. So here you will you'll be using computer software, you'll be using data processing techniques and geospatial databases to represent geographic information system visually and interactively. Now this may sound like very difficult words, but to break it down, computer software is basically when you go to GIS, when you use GIS, there are different softwares that you can use, different applications that you can use to make maps, which are not that difficult once you understand how to use them. Then there's a lot of data processing techniques, so you have a lot of data that you get when you are making maps, right? So even if I tell you let us make a map of your of the place or the locality where you are staying, so you will have various buildings. The buildings will have different names, or the societies will have different names. The roads will have different names. The road will have different numbers. Besides this, there will be bus stops. So the buses, at the bus stops, whichever buses come, there will be a list about that, right? There will be various shops. There will be some smaller shops. There will be bigger malls, right? So all of this are various entities and they are all part of data. So when I have multiple of these data, to process it, that means to get it all together and to put it on in my map, I need a processing technique. So when you use GIS and when you do digital cartography using GIS, the application basically helps you to take this massive data and to use it to your advantage and make it easier for you. Okay, then we have geospatial databases. Basically whatever is on the surface of the earth. So geo means earth and spatial means the space. Geo means earth, I'll just write it down here, and spatial means space. Okay, so whatever is on the surface of the earth, I will write surface as well. Whatever is on the surface of the earth, all of that is also represented. It is also there's a lot of data about that as well. For example, the surface of the earth naturally has hills, it has mountains, it has rivers, it has valleys. Okay, they can all be distinguished. This is on a very large scale that I'm talking to you. But when you go into the depth, you will have various soil types, right? So you must have heard of black soil, red soil, you must have heard of clay, silt, sand. So all of these are geospatial data and it can be used to represent in our maps. So I will be showing you later as we go on, as we advance into digital cartography, you will see that later. Okay, so digital cartography is basically an advanced technique of making maps, creating, managing and analyzing maps in an advanced way using digital technology. Okay, now we go to the nature of digital cartography. First nature is digital data handling. So whatever data we have, that is all going to be digitally available for us. So when it is digitally available, I can very easily share it with somebody. For example, I am sure you all use phones, right? So if you have somebody's phone number and you want to share it with another person who is maybe a few kilometers away, So you don't have to go to that person, meet that person and give in writing. You can just send that number or that contact to the person just with an SMS or with a message or with email, or you have so many ways of digitally sharing the data, right? So digital cartography primarily deals with handling geographic data in digital formats. This data includes spatial information such as coordinates, shapes, and attributes associated with various geographic features like points and lines and polygons. So if this is getting a bit too much, we'll just take a step back. Simply, the first nature of digital cartography is that there is digital data handling, as the word here says, digital cartography, digital data handling. Okay, you must have seen coordinates, so you have degree, minute, second. You must have seen something like 18 degrees, 24 minutes, and 30 seconds. You must have seen something like this, right? So these are some coordinates that we have. We have latitudes and longitudes, so we get the perfect location of any place with these coordinates, and these coordinates are also digitally available. If you have a compass on your phone, you can find out your current data as you move around the city. Also, you can find out your data, your exact coordinates. So all of this data is in digital format. Next point, geospatial analysis. So again, geo means earth, spatial means the space or the surface of the earth. Whatever is on the surface of the earth, we are going to analyze it, right? So whatever geographic features are there, we can use it to calculate distance. We can analyze the patterns that are seen on the surface of the earth, and we can get a lot of information out of this. So first of all, we had digital data handling. Next, we have geospatial analysis here. Next, we have interactive and dynamic mapping. Now, interactive means that I can make a map in which I can have various tools. For example, I am sure you have all used Google Maps or any other type of digital map before. When you are using Google Maps, I will just take an example of Google Maps for the time being. When you are using Google Maps, you can see that you can zoom in and out. You can have various layers. If you guys want, I can make a video of using Google Earth or Google Maps, and we can just see how interactive it is. So interaction means I as a person can interact with the map. I can zoom in, I can zoom out, I can look at all the roads in my city, I can look at the entire world, I can look at another city without moving from my home, right? So that is interactive and dynamic mapping. You can find out the traffic data, you can do a lot of things. So this is basically interactive and dynamic mapping. I can interact with the map. Okay, next we have data integration. As I mentioned previously, our map has a lot of data in it, and we have to put all of the data into the map. So that means data integration. Simply, we have a lot of data and you're putting it all together, you're squashing it into one single map. Again, taking an example of Google Maps, if you say for example are living in the city of Pune and you want to see the hospitals around you, right? So if you just go on Google Maps and you click on hospitals near me, the map will show you all the hospitals that are near you. When you click on one specific hospital, you will get the phone number, their details, their opening and closing times. If you want to meet the doctor there, they'll have even a list of the doctors that are present in the hospital, right? So there's a lot of data. I just spoke about hospitals, but in the same way there are a lot of data in the map itself. So this is a part of data integration. Besides this, we have GPS data. We have as you move forward, Google Maps is a very basic example that I'm giving you, but as you move forward you will have land use, land cover information, and satellite imagery data as well. Okay, Next is real-time updates. So with digital cartography, maps can be updated in real time. So basically it is very quick. As new data becomes available, it can quickly be incorporated into the map, and it can ensure that users have access to the most current and accurate information. Very good example of this is the traffic data. Anytime you have used Google Maps for traffic, I remember, not just I use it every day almost for travel. So whenever I am traveling by bike or by car, I will always check the destination, how long to reach there, which would be the best route. And even when I start my journey from, say for example, my home to my place of work, when I am traveling, it can give me different routes. It can update according to the traffic time. It can show me that there is high traffic, or there's going to be a traffic jam at a particular location, so I can reroute and I can take a different route. So all of that comes under real time updates. There are a lot more in real-time updates, but since this is the first class, I am not going to get into a lot of details. Last point, visual representation. So digital cartography focuses on visually representing geographic data in a clear manner. So I need to be able to see, and it needs to be visually appealing. That means whatever I see, I should be able to understand it and read it very clearly. So that means in digital cartography, there are very peculiar or very commonly used symbols, colors that carry a lot of information. For example, if there is I will just give you an example. If there's just blue color on the map without much information, so you can very easily say that the blue is something to do with water, maybe a river or a lake, and that is part of visual representation. If there is some green dots, for example, or green areas, I know again that it can be a forest. So these are just very basic symbols or colors that are used. Also, I will give you another example. When you are talking about hospitals, you will have this red cross symbol, right? So even this is a very commonly used symbol, and you will see that this is used in a lot of maps. Okay, now we will move on to the scope of digital cartography. I see a lot of times that students don't know what does nature and scope mean. What is the difference between nature and scope? So you as a person have some characteristics about you, right? You may like to talk, you may be very talkative, you may be shy, you may be quiet, you may be angry, right? Those are characteristics about your personality. So that is your nature, how you are as a person, your personality, right? And then scope means what all can you as a person do, right? So not everybody is good at everything. So you as a person may love to bake, you may love to drive, you may love to cook, you may love to do other things, right? Different things. So that is the scope, or that is what you can do, or what you do best, right? So we're going to look at the scope of digital cartography again. First scope is, or where it can be used. I will just write it here. Where or how can we use digital cartography? So the first way that we can use digital cartography is in geographic information system. So digital cartography forms the foundation of GIS. So for GIS to work, we need to have digital cartography, and vice versa. Here again, we are going to capture, store, manipulate, analyze, and present geographic data in geographic information system. And we can do a lot of things. Because of GIS, we can make maps, we can use it for urban planning, we can use it for agriculture, to find out about health, transportation, and just so much more. Next is web mapping. Web mapping is basically internet mapping. Okay, so the internet has given us a widespread um, information of digital maps, right? We have a lot of platforms. We have Google Maps, we have OpenStreetMaps, we have Google Earth, we have I think there is Apple Maps, like something that the iOS has come up with. So Apple has come up with their own type of maps as well. There are different countries who have come up with their various mapping or maps. So all of this is done to provide access to digital maps and geographic data to everybody who has access to a phone or access to the internet. So wherever you go around the world, anybody who has phone and internet has a map on their phone. Next, location based services. So this is something quite cool. Depending on your location, your services will change. For example, I remember one of my cousin had come from a different country to India, and when she had come here, she was saying, I can't use TikTok here. So I said that TikTok is banned in India, so you cannot use that here. Why? Because of the location that you are based in, right? So this is location based services. Some services are freely available to people in that particular country or region, and sometimes it is not available. For example, the Indian government had recently, I think a few years back, they had banned a few apps, and TikTok was one of them. Thus we cannot use TikTok here anymore, but we can use Instagram, we can use Facebook, we can use various different apps, we can use different maps. All of that is still available. Also, when you travel from one place to the other, so even if you're traveling inside India itself, you're traveling, say for example, from Maharashtra, you're traveling to say Kerala. The moment you reach Kerala, your phone will know that you are in Kerala, and it will give you information, or it will give you bilingual information. It will give you information in English as well as in the language of that state. So whatever language it may be it like if you travel to Karnataka, you will see that the language is in Kannada. If you travel to Kerala, you will see that it is in Malayalam. You will see, if you go up north, you will see it in Hindi, or you will see it in Bengali, depending on whichever state, whichever part of the country you are in. Okay, so these are location based services. Also, to add on to this, whenever you book a cab, rickshaw, maybe just food from Zomato, from Ola, from Uber, whatever you do, it is always based on your location, right? It will not give you food from another state, it will not give you food from 20 kilometers away, it will give you places that are close by to you. So this is also location based services. Then we have environmental monitoring. Environmental monitoring is basically where we are able to see the before and after, and we are able to monitor the environment. We are able to see the changes that is happening in the environment. You must have definitely seen whenever there is maybe a cyclone or any natural disaster, you will always see a before after picture, right? That is part of environmental monitoring. Another thing you will see is that whenever they show the news with the weather channel, you will see that they are showing you the wind patterns. They'll be showing how, if for example, if there's a cyclone, which direction it is moving in, etc. So all of that comes under environmental monitoring. We can track deforestation, land use changes, natural disasters using environmental monitoring. Next would be transportation and navigation. This is quite easy, quite something that we all use. Again, when you use Google Maps, you can very easily transport and navigate using the maps. Even if I don't know where I am going, even if I just put the coordinates on the maps, I'll be able to go and reach that place safely, right? So besides using it for daily lives, in our cars, in our bikes. Besides this, it is also used by ships, it is also used by airplanes. Now, ships and airplanes do not have roads, right? So when they do not have roads, how will they know where to take a turn, or where should they move, or what should they do? So all of this is done using digital cartography. And it is, the navigation system will be a little bit different from what we use in cars, but it follows the same tracking, route planning, etc. Okay, then we have spatial analysis and planning. Again, the word spatial means space, okay, or to better explain it, it means surface. Please always remember this, do not get confused with the word spatial. So what is there on the surface of the earth, we are going to be analyzing it, and we are going to plan. So whenever they need to build a town, whenever there needs to be planning, so to make a town, to make a city, there needs to be urban planning done. Recently that in Pune we've had the Pune metro that has come up. So they did not just get up one day and think that we are going to make metro, right? They have been planning for it for months, even years, and after that analysis, after the planning, only did they start building. This can be seen almost everywhere. If you see any major society, residential area that is being built, or any renovation that is done, they need to first analyze and plan. So there has to be spatial analysis and planning, and this is done using digital cartography as well. Then we have emergency management. So during disasters, digital cartography helps in coordinating response efforts by providing real-time maps of the affected areas. So there have been so many times when we have natural disasters where we can know if in real time we can know if a road is blocked, or we are trying to go somewhere and that place is unreachable, or maybe there's some accident that has taken place there, or anything. So this is all done using digital cartography. Also, if you remember, during COVID times, the government of India had come up with a service that allowed us to know where people are affected, and how far are they living from us who are affected by COVID, right? So this was also part of this is also done using digital cartography, and this is an emergency management technique. And the last point of the scope of digital cartography is the cartographic visualization. So basically, since we are digitally creating maps, we can make the map very appealing, very aesthetically pleasing. Also, we can use it for educational purposes, we can use it for storytelling, we can use it for journalism, we can use it for various purposes, right? So you can give a map, you can have a map for a child, you can have a map for an adult, you can have a map for an old person. So these maps are very, very aesthetically pleasing, okay? And the information of these maps also changes with the user. So if I have to give a map to maybe a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, I cannot have a very detailed map with a lot of information, because the child may not be able to read it, right? But if I am giving a map to somebody who is maybe 30 or 40, they can have a map which is much more detailed and has a lot of data, right? So such differences can be made while making digital maps. So this was just about the nature, the scope, a little bit of the introduction, and a little bit of the definition of digital cartography. I hope you have understood. To summarize, digital cartography means to make maps, cartography means to make maps, and digitally means digital cartography means to make maps digitally, and manual cartography means making of maps with hand or by hand using manual techniques, manual labor. So in the next video I'll be talking about the difference between manual and digital cartography, which is better, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Do let me know how you like it. Thank you.